The very first Christmas began with a journey. Joseph and Mary traveled from Nazareth to Bethlehem in obedience to the decree that all should be registered. Mary was nearing the time of her delivery, so that journey would not have been very easy for her. And as they arrived in Bethlehem, Mary went into labor. Unfortunately, there was a huge problem. The town was very crowded, and in Luke 2:7 it says that there was no room for them in the inn. The only space available was the stable. This was most likely a cave-like area where the animals would be kept at night. It would have smelled like probably animals and hay. It was unsanitary, unappealing, and thoroughly undesirable as a place to give birth. But it was available, and it was the only thing that was offered. This is a place where Jesus was born. His first bed was a manger, a feeding trough for the animals. The King of Kings entered the world in surroundings so lowly that calling them ordinary really would be an exaggeration. And yet, heaven broke into that moment. And suddenly, there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly hosts praising God. Creation itself was crying out, testifying of his arrival. But the stable, it also shares a message for us, one that is significant to every human being that has or will be living on earth. The stable symbolizes how Jesus is willing to come into any available and offered space or situation. It doesn't have to be fancy or high priced. It doesn't even have to be respectable. It doesn't even have to be clean. And this is where the miracle of his presence becomes unmistakable. The stable became a palace, not because its walls changed, but because the king was there. The manger became a throne, not because it was beautiful, but because the one laid upon it is glorious. This is the pattern of how God works. He doesn't wait for a perfection. He steps into the broken, into the ordinary, the overlooked, and the unworthy. And his presence brings cleansing, dignity, and transformation. Jesus is willing to come and dwell in any human heart available and offered to him. Wherever he enters or dwells, he transforms. This truth is the message of Christmas. John 1:14 says, "The Word became flesh and dwelt among us." He came near so that we might be made new. And as you celebrate Christmas this year, make sure that every place in your life is available to Jesus. Offer him your joys, your burdens, your hopes, and even the places that feel unworthy or even shameful. The one who entered a stable will enter your life with the same grace, and his presence will transform your life for his glory.